Good evening. Welcome to my channel. This is a new channel. Actually, it's not a new channel at all. It's been existing for 10 years. And I just remembered now that in the previous video, I actually told people I came into Britain because I came from Africa. I came into Britain. I told them I came in 1912. I didn't come to the UK in 1912 because I wasn't born yet even. I came in 1988. I was trying um, to discuss. I mean, to talk about my experience in this country and also my experience in Africa. Now, in the previous video, which this is a continuation of, in the previous video, I was trying to explain the purpose of this channel is to liberate every individual in the society, every individual in society, home and away, in the UK, across the globe, all the 8 billion people through this channel, all the ordinary people of the world can speak via the social media, whether through this channel or through another channel. You can open your own channel and talk the way I am talking now. So I believe speaking is a very important thing. You can speak with other people, you can speak to yourself, to a camera like this. Speak your mind. If this is a topic, any subject at all, to do with the cost of living, we are exploring the cost of living, and we are doing this discussion informally. I want to introduce people on to the idea of the cost of living as a broad topic, because it's so easy sometimes perhaps to think of the cost of living as we have a problem and the government is going to solve it for us. Yes, that is the case. The government is going to solve it for us because they're going to provide benefits. They're going to provide advice, legal advice, for example. Legal advice, you may be surprised. Legal advice is also part of the welfare state, which I'm going to speak about in a second. I'm going to speak about it generally. If you want more structured, more formal discussion of the welfare state, then I'm prepared to take on the challenge. But leave a comment below and let me know what you want a video, what kind of video you would like on what topic. And some people are actually interested in me talking about debt or income. There's something called income maximization, which is actually critical when you're you're tight on budget. And I can do a video on that if somebody is interested. But the cost of living, there is a lot of material on the government website and on the charity websites which deal with the issue of the cost of living. Charities like the Citizen Advice, and the website of the local authority like the council. These are actually organizations delivering and also administering the welfare state. And I'm going to talk about the welfare state shortly. And I'll link that to, because the idea of the cost of living and the policy on the cost of living from the government, the provision of the administration and the delivery of the service of the cost of living sits neatly on the welfare policy economy. The welfare state is big, it's global. Welfare state, I should say, it started all over the world, but the world has been active in history. If we see the world today, probably we think the world interconnected recently. See, the world has been interconnecting a long time ago in history, and today the pace of change and of interaction has changed with the social media, with transportations and all this. But the idea of the welfare state originated in different countries in Europe, Germany, France, places like Denmark, Sweden, the European countries, developed countries, America, the UK, yeah, and place in the Asian country, China, and in places like India, and in the Middle East, the welfare state was already in the Middle East. That its roots, the idea, the thinking, because you see the thing about society is that someone somewhere, a group of people decided to create states. Now, if you know how states were created, then leave a comment below. Let me know if you know exactly how this the global states have been created. So really, there's so many information, so much history. It's such a long story. You can tell me if you want. You can ask me to make a video if you want me to do a research on how the states were created in the world. And if I'm lucky, I will find good information and then do a formal presentation on based on such information. But we are where we are now as societies, as families, as communities. We are under the state. Any country, whatever country you are in, you are under the state. And the state, modern state, so to speak, politics and politicians are setting up government, and government are setting up policies and programs to run the country, including the legal system. And the citizen of a country have to comply with the law of a country. The government has to administer the law through the court system and administrative policies through government institutions. And so the welfare state is an idea from those who are actually in power to help people who cannot help themselves. That's the basis. And people who cannot help themselves in society are actually poor people. And all sorts of languages or expressions can be produced. But what you need to know is that if you're struggling, you're poor. And I've said this many times now in the course of producing this video, because I'm mindful that it's not easy to kind of like impose kind of like a badge on somebody. We meet somebody on the street or on the social media, and tell them you're poor, and people might not really feel good, because I don't want anybody to refer to me as being poor, as a person or as a group, as a family. I have my pride. Everybody has their pride. So it's a sensitive topic to talk about, to say, you are poor. And sometimes we have to swallow our pride. Because our life, we have to celebrate our life. Celebrating life is about growth. We have to mature. You have to be adults. We can, bury our heads in the sand and pretend we are okay. The cost of living didn't start yesterday. The cost of living has been here all the times. So when the state decided to help, the state was trying to help the majority of the people. And I always said from the top of my head that 80% of the population are poor. If you work for a living, you're poor. You're poor. If you work for a living, people sometimes don't realize that you may be earning maybe £5,000 per month, maybe you have savings of maybe 50,000, 100,000, but you're buying a house on a mortgage. I would explain in other videos what a mortgage is. When you borrow to buy a house. Now, when I talk of houses, these are all the elements of the welfare state. When the government try to build houses which are affordable, like in the UK here, if you live in the UK, you know what I'm talking about. Something called the council housing. Now, it may not be because welfare state in South America, in Mexico, Argentina, and all these places in South America, but not everywhere in South America. In some more developed. Actually, the more developed a country is, like Indonesia, China, India, Pakistan. These modern economy of welfare states of varying nature. Actually, surprising America, which is actually the most developed country in the world, as one of the the least developed welfare state. Because welfare state is support, is also financial support from the government and non-financial support. There's something called Social Security in the UK. Social Security is actually mainly money, welfare benefit. They call it benefit, but it's money. I've actually mentioned this several times, but I will be mentioning it over and over again because if you have a picture of what is happening, if you go to the government to get help, you know what you're talking about. You know the size of it. So you have Social Security, you have the NHS system, so you have the educational system, you have the transport system, you have the pension system in employment. Employment is also part of the welfare state. Is help given, employment is a form of help given by the state for the people of this country. This main source of income are actually work, which is you are either self-employed, but most people in the UK are actually employed. They are employed, and there are self-employed people. There are actually some other type of employed people who are not employed as staff. They are employed as temporary staff, like agencies. Some of them are on 0-hour contract. So it is a complex system. And to talk about these elements, I'm talking generally, you need to handle them one by one. And right now I'm talking generally. To give you an idea what help from the state means for those people who cannot help themselves. So there is evidence, the welfare state is evidence that our society is actually unequal. That is the whole point, because the redress from the welfare state is actually with regard to inequalities. There are so many factors leading to this. Normally in the Western world, and actually in most countries, people who are in power actually maintain power status from generation to generation. This is a power cycle. There are few, there are about 10 to 15% to 20% perhaps, who occupy power. They are in government, they run big businesses, they have wealth. If you ask yourself who owns land in Britain, you probably don't know. I probably don't know. But if you go online, you will struggle to find information on who owns land. The person who owns land owns this country. Now, the problem, we are now 14 minutes, so I'm going to stop in about 5 minutes. I'm going to have 20 minutes on this video. I just need to conclude on the picture of what welfare state is. There are so many details, and we can talk about it. I'm happy to do that. I'm so excited. Um, so the problem of the cost of living, the source of the cost of living crisis, arises from so many different complex aspects, and I'm trying to talk to you generally. But all the problem, almost all the problem comes from the government and from the government policy. Government has been silent of. See, the welfare state is part of the public sector. There are three sectors of the economy, and there are other subsectors within the economy. There is the public sector, there's a private sector, and there's the voluntary sector. We know the public and the private. The voluntary we don't know very much. The voluntary sector actually charities. There are big, there are medium, there are small charities. There are big, there are medium and small private businesses. But most public businesses are actually big organizations like schools, hospitals, public transport, and the welfare state, no, the welfare benefits, social security, infrastructures, all those things. And actually, the legal system, the legal service also is part of the welfare state because of the government pay money to allow poor people to access justice. If you're in trouble, you have to get legal aid. If you don't get legal aid, you're not going to access justice. Now, all these public sectoral industry, institutions, and the services are now in trouble. Right now, the public sector as an economy is in trouble. Number one. Number two, in the private sector, the small and medium businesses are also in trouble. Those who are doing well under the government policy and implementation of policy in terms of the economy, those who are doing well now are actually big businesses, corporations like big banks, big insurance companies, and all these other uh, wealthy corporations. In most of them are in central London. Somewhere called the City of London. The City of London is actually a very powerful area. It's like a country within a country in terms of wealth. And you see, the government has been selling off everything, literally. And there are things the government have been saying that like the Conservative Party under David Cameron, Prime Minister David Cameron, they've been telling us they are going to give our country back. You see, they want big society. And then it turns out that giving our country back means we take responsibility for schools, for hospitals, for our livelihood. We take responsibility for ourselves. But what the conservative government did not tell us, where are we going to get the money to look after ourselves? Employment, for example. Because, you see, capitalism under which we operate economically, capitalism cannot produce, cannot provide full employment. Full employment is the source of the primary source of income potentially, but in practice, with technology, with you know with mechanization, things like artificial intelligence, things like you know things like robotics, things like nanotechnology, things like 3D printer. These are actually machines and technology, engineering. These are now being developed to replace human labor, to produce goods and services in the economy, which is a perfect thing. It's really, really brilliant. It's fantastic. It means people don't have to work. That is the future. And it is happening now. If you're in the UK or in Europe, you go into the supermarket, you find that at the checkout, where cashiers used to sit at something called till. Till is like a machine you use to, it's a cash register or whatever you call it. Yeah, the supermarket is a sign. You go to the bank, the same thing. Because you got machines now, self-service machine at the bank. You go to the computer. You don't no longer go to the cashier. It's you go to the cashier, but most of the service is changing. You go to buses, you use the card. You go um to trains, and we see these changes. And what do we think? There is going to be less and less jobs, which means we are not going to have a livelihood because we will not have employment. The machine will take over. It's now taking over. If you go to the retail, you go to the admin work now is maybe only 1%. Admin work, which used to help young people, admin work now because the computer does all the administration. So these changes are coming. We have the social media. We have all sorts of things coming very fast. This is an opportunity, and we need to know what is happening. Without work, 80% of the population will be poor because rich people do not have to work. They don't have to work. They have wealth. And two things is possible. I mean, that in this maybe 50 years or 100 years, you come back from wherever you went. Maybe you are dead and you came back to life. You will see machines, robots doing everything. That is my prediction. Because the signs are now there. You see, it's now happening. So when you come back to the cost of living, when you come back to the welfare state, the government cannot say they cannot help, which is actually the tone of the politics of today. Basically, the government says it's not their responsibility to help us. They would not say it directly, but their behavior. If you go to these, the places of help, it's so difficult to gain access, and the amount given as help is quite small. They are helping with the cost of energy. There are food banks in the UK. You go and get food. That is part of welfare. And believe it or not, even professionals do not know benefit is part of the welfare benefit. I mean, our food bank, because food bank is where you go if you're in trouble. You go and get food for free, and don't think you can get food bank just like that. You have to go through a procedure. You have to get advice. You have to get debt advice. You have to get food voucher, and a professional has to really refer you to the food bank. And it's not straightforward. It's not like you walk there and say, "Oh, I don't have food today," and you get it. You have to book an appointment. If you are sick, you have to arrange for somebody to deliver it. It's so complex. We don't need that. And this is what this challenge is for. We need to discuss this thing so that we can start talking to the MPs or even to the ministers directly, or to the media, to the main media. This is the media, the social media. Social media is an opportunity for social people. Social people are actually poor people. Individual people are actually the rich people. Social welfare doesn't apply to them. You see? Social security doesn't apply to people who are wealthy. So we, the majority, are the social people. We're the poor. We have the social media. Social media is a poor channel, which is actually an opportunity for us to access power to the people. Ability to speak for the first time. The poor people are actually given a chance to speak. I don't know where social media came from. Maybe you can leave a message, leave a comment below. Tell me the history of social media. They are there. They are actually online. You can find everything you want to find online. So exciting, and so that's why I'm so excited to be here. It's a challenging experience because it's a bit awkward sitting here talking alone, and maybe in the next 3 to 4 weeks I will do a live and try to invite 2 or 3 people and maybe we'll do a video conferencing. I will just do some try to get advice and support to see if I can get any help from my family or friends to see whether we can talk together. Like uh, we may not, because I can't really promise something I don't know, because it might be very costly to do a video conference. I know video conferencing is done. I don't know how many people can join with video conferencing. It's unlikely we are going to do that, but I may do a live where I'll be speaking and you will be chatting with me. But also subscribe to this channel, please. Like the channel and share with family and friends. I want to see visibility. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year once more. Enjoy yourself and be the best. Thank you. Bye.